Hi, my name is Amber Neighbors, and here is my discussion presentation for library collection policies. My first reason that I think is most essential is to define the scope and coverage of your selection. This is an important reason for a collection policy in order to determine the kinds of materials that are going to be added to your library collection. These materials aren't solely for tangible books, but it can also include things like an ebook, different databases, any kind of journal subscriptions or newspapers, and then even videos or audio recordings. A second most essential reason is guiding the evaluation process of your library collection. I think that this is important for the collection policy because there has to be a careful selection process for the materials that you already have in the library when you evaluate them, and then to consider what you might purchase in the future for your library. Some things that you need to consider during evaluation are the intended audience, how much the materials cost, maybe the formatting, if you need audiobooks or if you need hardback books, the content that's in the materials, how current things are, maybe even relevance and other, etc. My third most essential reason is to protect intellectual freedom, and this is an important reason for collection policy because I believe that all students should have equal access to all the materials in the library, and these materials go beyond being able to read the books or ebooks, but this can also include students being able to access the library space, have access to the internet or databases or any type of resources that are offered and provided by the library. The self-censorship article that I found was called "They're So Stinkin' Popular, How Could You Say No? A Graphic Novel Collection Development and School Librarian Self-Censorship." This article discussed the controversy that librarians have towards graphic novels in school libraries, and then to go along with this argument, it also dealt with self-censorship and then bias. According to this article, it was kind of alarming, the huge increase that we had in librarian censorship just within the last decade. Problems with censorship are that you can include the lack of intellectual freedom of the patrons, and then you can also cause a lack of diversity or an incomplete collection when you have self-censorship and you unintentionally or intentionally weed out certain books or topics. The importance of knowing self-bias is to not prohibit the access of and to library materials, because when this happens, then our students are limited in the scope of materials that they have access to, and it can infringe upon their intellectual rights and freedoms. What I learned from this article is that self-censorship and self-bias is very, very easy. Lots of librarians are afraid of their books being challenged, they're worried about exposing their students to materials that they're not sure if they can handle yet or if they're inappropriate for them, and a lot of them are afraid of losing their jobs. So it's important to understand what biases that we have as librarians so that we don't censor our library collection. What I learned from this article is that kids need books that they enjoy. Books don't have to seem like they have much substance, but that doesn't mean that they should be excluded from a library collection, and the only books that should be avoided are not appealing to patrons and have no substance. How this is going to impact my collection development choices is that I'm going to keep an open mind to the interest of students when adding different materials to my collection. I will not only include books that I believe to be of substance, but that are not of interest to students, and I have to get over my own biases towards graphic novels and books that are similar to that. Here are my works cited, and thank you for listening to my presentation.